Day 65 of the Iran war, and the picture is getting messier by the hour. Iran has now sent a second peace proposal, 14 points, after Trump rejected the first one just days ago. The president says he'll review it, but in the same breath he's warning Iran hasn't paid a big enough price and leaving the door open for fresh strikes. Meanwhile, he told Congress this week that hostilities have, quote, terminated. Energy prices are soaring. Britain's food chain is in crisis. Israel and Hezbollah are still exchanging fire, and the New York Times is declaring Trump's predictions of a short, low-cost conflict are, and I quote, crumbling. Joining me now are Marcus Webb, our defense and security analyst, and Sophia Reeves, our economics and markets editor. Marcus, let me start with you. Is Trump in trouble here, or is this exactly what maximum pressure is supposed to look like?
Thanks, Emma. Look, let's not let the media's preferred narrative run away with the facts here. Yes, this is harder and longer than was publicly advertised. That's true, but the idea that submitting a 14-point peace proposal after 65 days is evidence that Iran is winning, that's exactly backwards. Iran is submitting proposals because it is under real pressure. That's not failure. That's what pressure looks like. What Douglas Murray has been arguing for years is that the West consistently misreads Iranian tactical flexibility as Iranian moderation, and I think we need to resist that temptation now. The real test isn't whether Iran has made an offer. It's whether the offer gives America, and frankly the entire Western world, what it actually needs: verifiable, permanent constraints on Iran's nuclear program. Trump's instinct that Iran hasn't paid enough is strategically sound. The danger is sitting down too early and locking in a deal that Tehran will violate the moment pressure lifts.
But Marcus, here's the problem. Trump literally told Congress hostilities have terminated. That's not just a messaging issue, that's a constitutional issue. If the war is still going and he told Congress it wasn't, doesn't that undermine his entire negotiating position? And Sophia, what's your take on this?
Well, look, I think Marcus is right that the pressure is working in a narrow military sense, but he's completely glossing over the economic catastrophe that's unfolding in real time. The Strait of Hormuz moves roughly 21 million barrels of oil a day. That's 20% of global petroleum supply. It has been effectively closed for 10 weeks. Energy prices aren't just soaring, they're feeding directly into inflation across every Western economy. Britain is in a food supply chain crisis. The Telegraph isn't using that language lightly. And here's what I think the national security crowd consistently underestimates. Economic pain doesn't just hurt consumers. It erodes the political coalition that makes sustained military action possible in the first place. Trump's support base fills up their trucks and pays their heating bills. If this war is costing them at the pump every single day, the politics shift fast.
I hear what Sophia is saying, but with respect, that misses the point entirely. The economic cost of not dealing with Iran, of allowing a regime with nuclear ambitions to sit astride the world's most critical oil choke point permanently, is infinitely higher. Yes, inflation hurts. Yes, energy prices are brutal. But let me ask you this. What's the cost of Iran with a nuclear weapon in 5 years? What's the cost of a nuclearized Middle East? What's the cost of Hezbollah with Iranian backing operating without any constraint? The uncomfortable truth is that short-term economic pain is the price of long-term regional security. Trump's hint to Breitbart that American energy companies could one day operate inside Iran tells you something crucial. There is a transformational endgame here if this is handled correctly. That's not hubris. That's strategic vision.
Here's what I want to know. Iran has now sent 2 proposals in a matter of days. Trump's reviewed the first and rejected it. He's now reviewing the second. If he rejects this one too, where does this go? Is there a point at which Iran calls America's bluff, and this escalates in ways nobody has planned for? Sophia, where do you see this going?
The way I see this playing out, there are basically 2 trajectories, and both of them are uncomfortable. Either Trump finds enough in this 14-point document to claim a credible win and takes it, in which case the markets stabilize, energy prices come off their highs, and we can assess whether the deal actually holds. Or he rejects this one too, and we enter a prolonged grinding phase where the economic damage compounds week after week. If current trends continue by month 4 or 5 of elevated energy prices, you're looking at significant inflationary pressure in the United States and a European economic situation that's genuinely dangerous. The political window for sustained military action is not unlimited. History tells us that even popular military operations lose public support when the grocery bill goes up.
Here's what concerns me most, and this is the scenario I don't think is being discussed seriously enough. If Iran calculates that America is wavering, that the economic pain is producing political retreat, it doesn't moderate, it accelerates. What history tells us about regimes that feel existentially threatened is that they reach for the ultimate deterrent. The real risk here is that a war designed to prevent Iran from going nuclear becomes the very catalyst that convinces Tehran it needs nuclear weapons on an emergency timeline. If that trajectory takes hold, we're not debating 14-point peace proposals anymore. We're in a fundamentally different and far more dangerous situation. Trump needs to close this, but close it with teeth.
Marcus Webb, Sophia Reeves, thank you both. Fierce as always, and absolutely right that someone in Tehran isn't sleeping well tonight. The question is whether the same can be said for someone in Washington.